Before we get into today's video, let's hop inside the 435, take it to another spot, and get a bit of change in scenery. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Eamon. This is my 2015 BMW 435 behind me, and in today's video I want to walk you guys through every single mod that I've put on this car in the past year and a half, maybe like 2 years. So like I was saying guys, this is a 2015 BMW 435. This car did come with the M Sport kit straight from BMW. As you guys can obviously see, it is white, it has red interior, and it actually came with a few mods from the dealership. They're like dealership add-ons, but I will talk about that a little more later. But in this video guys, I really want to focus on all the mods that I put on this car. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail about price of the mods. I'll probably save that for another video, but in this one I just really want to showcase the mods that are currently on the car, because if you guys have been watching my channel, you'll know that I'm pretty much done with this car. I have no more mods for it. The last mod that I installed was the exhaust tips, which I will show you guys. But since everything is pretty much done, this is a good time to go through the entire list. Now, every mod that I talk about will be linked down in the description below. So if you guys want any of the mods that I have, just check out the description. Everything will be linked there. But yeah, before we really dive into it, I figured we'd just come up here, get a bit of a different scenery. I feel like I always film in the same spot. I do apologize, it feels a little windy up here, but the views are really cool. You guys can see that I'm currently on top of a garage. Now, if you're wondering, these marks are definitely not for me. As you can tell, this is probably a popular spot for people to come and do burnouts and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely not me in my all-wheel drive 435. But anyways, guys, let's start with maybe the front of the car. So as you can see here, there are a few subtle things done to the car. The biggest one being this carbon fiber front lip from JHP. Now I did get this from Souvenir. If you guys have been watching the channel, you'll know that I actually had a forged carbon one before this one. That one unfortunately got destroyed, so I replaced it with this normal weaved carbon one. It looks absolutely beautiful, but even this one did take some abuse, but it is what it is, guys. That's just the reality of having a front lip and a low car, especially here in New York. So that's probably the biggest mod in the front. Now we also have a carbon fiber front grille. So you guys can see here, the surround is real carbon fiber. The center is still gloss black, but overall I think it looks really good. This one I actually got from Inline 6 Auto. It's actually one of my favorite mods on the car. Absolutely love the way that it looks. I feel like it also ties in really well with the front lip, and overall just gives the car a little more character from the front, which I feel like it was kind of lacking in the beginning, but I think that really helps. But otherwise guys, the next mod we have in the front are these crossbars right over here. Now I don't know if you can really see them given the lighting. I put some yellow crossbar covers. Now this isn't a wrap and it's not paint. It's literally these plastic covers that just snap right into the crossbars. They're super easy to install and they come in multiple colors. I just really like the yellow on the white and black of this car. Normally the front end of the car looks really cool because you can see those like subtle yellow accents, but right now because of the sun you can't see it, but when you can, I think it looks amazing. Yeah, otherwise guys, that's really it in terms of the front. There is something else in the front, as you guys can probably see down in that bottom grille, but we'll get into more performance mods later on. For now I just want to focus on the aesthetics. So maybe after the front we can focus on like the sides and the roof. So first thing guys, you can tell I actually have the front windshield tinted. I also have the sides tinted as well. It is 20% on the sides, and then I want to say 70% on the front windshield. They are Expel window tints, so they are better quality. They're a little thicker and they definitely help with blocking out sun. I was actually never really planning on tinting the windows of this car, but after I wrapped the roof black, which was the next thing I was going to talk about, I kind of figured having dark windows would just make things flow a little better. As you guys can see, the black roof kind of flows really nicely into the front windshield, and then of course even better is the back, because the back is going to be the 20%. So you guys can see that just flows really nicely. At first I just wrapped the roof black and that looked good, but without the window tints it looked a little funny because it kind of looked like it went from black to like red or clear and then white. I wasn't crazy about the way that looked, but I think after I tinted the windows, the roof wrap really started to look good, and I absolutely love it now. I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't crazy about wrapping the roof on this white car. I thought it was a little cliche and a little overdone, but everyone told me to do it, including my brother. I decided to do it. Once I actually did it, I instantly regretted it. Like, I absolutely hated it. I just thought it looked really off and just a little weird, to be honest, but once I tinted the windows, I really think it all came together. Now, honestly, guys, I'm super happy with the way it turned out. And honestly, I kind of regret not doing it sooner. Again, I know wrapping your roof black, especially on a white car, is a little cliche, it's a little overdone, but overall, I actually think this looks really, really good. As you guys can see here, I just went with a normal gloss black roof wrap. Now, on the antenna, some people actually wrap these, but what I actually had the guy do was avoid wrapping this thing so I can put a carbon fiber overlay on it. It blends in really well with the black roof, but also gives a little more character in my opinion, and helps tie in some of the other carbon fiber pieces on the front and some other areas really well. So originally when I actually wrapped this roof black and even tinted the windows, this antenna was still white for a long time until this came in. This I actually got from Keys Motorsports, so huge shout out to them. But yeah guys, I actually think this looks really good. It's a super subtle mod on the car, but in my opinion, I think it made a huge difference. So now speaking of more carbon fiber, sort of like in the general area, I have these carbon fiber mirror caps over here. Now as you guys can tell, these are M style, so that means it has this wing over here as opposed to just kind of being, you know, curved right there. I know some people get really triggered about putting like M style stuff on non-M cars, which this car obviously is, but honestly guys, I really don't care. I think they look good, so I'm gonna put it regardless. I'm not putting M badges on the car. I think that's a whole different story. I can't condone that, but putting like M style mirror caps or like an M4 style spoiler on your car, I really don't think it's that bad, but hey, that's just my opinion. So besides the M-style mirror cap, of course, in real carbon fiber, which if I didn't mention already, I also got from Inline 6 Auto, I also have these smoked out sequential turn signals, which look really good, guys. This is another subtle mod, but I think it looks really good because it kind of blends in this underneath black piece with the carbon fiber. It, of course, being smoked out, it all makes it look consistent, whereas before it's just like this ugly chrome. So before it would be like dark, light, and then dark again, whereas this is just all dark throughout. I think it looks a lot better. So similar to the front lip where I originally had forged carbon fiber, I actually started off with forged carbon on these mirror caps, and even before then this car actually came with real carbon fiber mirror caps from BMW. Now, if you guys are wondering why I swapped them out for these ones, it's because those ones were not the M-style ones, and I really wanted the M-style ones. So I've actually had multiple mirror caps on this car, which is pretty funny. Nothing actually happened to the forged carbon fiber ones. It was just when I destroyed the forged carbon front lip, I kind of figured I'd just keep things consistent. I replaced this one with normal weave carbon, so I replaced the mirror caps also with normal weaved carbon. Before I forget, something else that I have on the front of the car is these paint matched side markers. So originally, guys, these come in orange. I believe it's only on US spec cars. European cars don't even come with anything at all. So I forgot who made these exactly. But again, guys, I will leave links down in the description below. But these are paint matched to your car. Originally, I tried going with like some smoked out ones or even clear ones. Those ones just didn't look too great in my opinion, but the paint match one on the white car I think looks amazing. I'm really trying not to forget anything, guys. If I do, I'll probably just drop a clip somewhere in here to kind of explain what I forgot, but let's just hope I don't forget anything. But yeah, anyways, with that said, let's just keep on moving on. We'll move on to the side of the car now. So a couple things, obviously the biggest thing, guys, is going to be the wheels and suspension. So this car is currently sitting on KW V1 coilovers. Now, if you're wondering why I got the V1s, it's just because I only really cared about the height adjustment. I didn't really care about the dampening. I'm not tracking this car. Originally, I just really used it for daily driving, so I really didn't care for the V2s or the V3s. The price just wasn't worth it to me. So the V1s were more than enough for me. I absolutely love them. They're very similar to stock, except you just have that like ride height adjustment. As you guys can tell, this car is definitely super low. I didn't even max out these coilovers. There's still a lot more room to go lower, but this is plenty enough for me. I'll actually see if we can get a glimpse of the coilovers. It might be a little tough. Let's see, maybe in the front. Yeah, not really sure if you guys can see that, but like I said, I'll probably just drop a picture. So then other than the coilovers, a big mod on this car is the wheels. Now these are variant Xenon wheels. These are staggered, so they're 19 by 8.5 in the front and 19 by 10 in the rear. So hopefully you can focus, but that's 245 35 R19s in the front. These are the Michelin Pilot Sport AS3 Plus, I think that's the name, if you guys can see that right there. I don't know how much you can actually see because of the lighting. The reason why I went with these tires is because they are all season, and again, guys, I do live in New York, so I deal with a lot of rain, a lot of snow, and I still want to be able to drive this car year round, so I didn't want to just go for some summer tires. Now, I probably could have gotten some summer tires and been fine, but I don't know, just to be safe, I figured I'd go with these. I have no complaints about them, but I'm also not pushing the car to its absolute limit, so I'm probably not the best judge. But yeah, anyways, back to the wheels. Like I was saying, guys, 19 by 8.5 in the front, 19 by 10 in the rear. So these rears are 275 30 R19s. So it's a pretty meaty setup for an all-wheel drive 435. If you guys are wondering why I did a staggered setup on an all-wheel drive car, or even if that's possible, it is, guys. You just have to make sure that the measurements are within 1% difference. If you guys want, I can make a whole video about that. But in this case, these wheels and tires are perfectly fine for an all-wheel drive setup. I've been running these for I want to say a year and maybe like 2 months or so, and I've had absolutely no issues. So if you guys don't do it the right way, you can have some issues with your transmission and stuff like that. So yes, a staggered setup is possible on an all-wheel drive xDrive BMW, but you just have to make sure that you do it right. Be very meticulous. But again, guys, if you want, you can probably just follow what I did and you'll be fine. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about in terms of the side of the car is actually the brakes. Now this can be just normal maintenance, but I actually went ahead and upgraded the brakes. Well, not really upgraded the brakes, I just put some nicer rotors on it. So hopefully you guys can see, and the lighting isn't messing it up, but I do have some slotted and dimpled rotors. I didn't go for drill just because I've heard, you know, issues of the rotors cracking. I don't know how true that is, but I just figured I'd play it safe. Like I said, again, this is probably considered a maintenance item, but since it makes the car look a little better in my opinion, I figured I'd just count it as a mod, because maintenance on this car is a whole other story. If you guys really want, I can make a video about that to just give you guys an idea of how much it usually costs to maintain these cars. But again, in this video, I really want to focus on like the more interesting mods. Anyways, with that said, let's make our way to the rear of the car, which has some of my favorite mods personally. All right, so now in the rear, I really didn't do too much on the car, guys. Really quickly, this spoiler, I get so many questions on. This is actually, I believe, an M Performance style paint match spoiler. This actually came with the car, so I believe this was a dealership accessory. I don't know if there's anywhere that you guys can get this spoiler. I personally left it on the cars just because I love the clean, subtle look of it, and I also love the paint match look. I actually went ahead and bought an M4 style carbon fiber spoiler for this car, so that way it can match the rest of the carbon on the car. But I ended up deciding not to put it on. I know a lot of people weren't happy with that. And I can't blame you guys. I know larger spoilers are super popular on these cars. I just personally like the subtle look of this one. So although this spoiler did come with the car, I'm just gonna count it on my list, especially since so many people ask me about it. Now, the next mod in the rear that I absolutely love is this right over here, guys. Probably one of the most popular mods that I put on this car. These are GTS taillights, of course, made to look like the M4 GTS. Now, of course, being that this car is a 435, that means that it was pre-LCI, and it came with those not so great looking pre-LCI taillights, whereas like the 440, the LCI, it came with some nicer taillights. So if I did have those, I probably just would have left them, but since I had the pre-LCI ones, I went ahead and swapped them out for these GTS taillights. If you guys didn't know already, this is what they look like when you unlock the car. It makes this really cool animation, and then once it's actually on, the light will stay like that. So they look super cool and give the car a much more unique look. Fun fact, guys, I was actually one of the first people to get these lights for the 4 Series. They were out for a long time for the 3 Series, of course, the more popular car, but it took them a little longer to make these for the 4 Series. But as soon as they did, I jumped on it right away. So I'm not gonna say I was the first one with them, but I think I was probably one of the first, which really doesn't mean much, but anyways, just a fun fact. So other than the lights, we have 2 more mods in the rear. Hopefully you guys can actually see them because of the lighting, but as you can see, I have an M Performance style real carbon fiber diffuser. I also got this one from Inline 6 Auto, so huge shout out to him. I absolutely love the way that this thing looks, and I also love that it ties in the rest of the carbon on the car. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, installing these diffusers are definitely a pain, especially when you get a real carbon fiber one, but I think it was well worth it. Now the next, and I believe the last aesthetic mod that I put on the car and that I'm gonna be talking about today, are these Burger Motorsports exhaust tips right here. I literally installed these like maybe a week ago, and I absolutely love them, guys. I really do wish I did these sooner. I guess I just never realized what a difference exhaust tips can make on a car, but after doing this, I know on my next car I'm gonna do it like right away. But yeah, like I said, guys, that was literally the last mod that I installed on this car, and I believe the last mod, at least in terms of exterior aesthetics, that I have to talk about on this list. Now I do have some minor interior mods, and I also have some performance mods, which I'll also talk to you guys about, but I kind of wanted to break it up into like different categories. That way it's easier for me to remember everything as well. But before I jump into those other mods, I just want to say really quickly, guys, I'm super happy with the way that this 435 looks. If you guys own a 435, or if you're thinking about getting one, honestly, I say go for it. They're amazing cars. They have such a nice silhouette, and they're such a nice base to build off of. A 435 with the N55, or even a 440 with the B58, you can't go wrong with either. I just think that they're one of the best looking BMWs. I know that's just my opinion, but I really stand by that. I absolutely love this car. It's also pretty rare. Like, you see so many F30s, but you hardly see any F32s. Now, I'm not the type of person who always feels the need to be different, but if you guys value that, that's also something to keep in mind. I really didn't do too much to the car, but you guys can even do less to it and make this car look absolutely amazing. If you really just want a clean look, you guys can honestly just get some nicer wheels, some coilovers, maybe GTS taillights, maybe some mirror caps, and I think that's more than enough. You really don't need much to make these cars look good. Anyways, guys, let's just jump into the interior so we can go through some of the interior mods on the car. Now, I do apologize if it's a mess in here. I do have some gym equipment, some camera equipment, but this isn't going to take long anyways. So really quickly, guys, I have some M Performance style OEM floor mats, which look really good. They also match these OEM style, but not real BMW aluminum sport pedals. These are pretty subtle, but I think they look really good. As you guys can tell, it has that like same design on on the floor mat, so it all flows in really nicely. Otherwise, guys, the only other mod that I have on the interior is just this red start button, so I really don't have much in here. I was planning to do a lot more in terms of the interior on this car, like a custom steering wheel, some custom trim, and all that type of stuff, but just given the fact that I'm going to be selling the car, guys, I didn't think it was worth paying like $1,200 and $1,000 for interior trim. I just kind of left it as is right now. Honestly, guys, like, this car's interior already looks good in my opinion. The red leather, especially it being extended with the red dash, looks amazing. If you guys didn't know, the 4 Series does come with a red dash as well as the red seats and door cards, whereas like the F30s, the 3 Series, they do not, which kind of sucks in my opinion. But yeah, I think just the way that this came from the factory already looks so good, so the interior really didn't need much. But anyways, let's just pop the hood really quickly so that way I can walk you guys through some of the performance mods. Alright, so in terms of performance, guys, there's really not too much done to this car. I did really focus mainly on aesthetics. I did do a decent amount, but nothing too crazy. I also have some additional mods inside the engine bay, which I will talk you guys through. But let's just go through the actual performance ones first, and then we'll talk through some of those additional engine bay mods. So first thing in terms of performance is this BMS air intake. Right over here, as you guys can see, this is aluminum, so they have 2 variations, the standard one, which is plastic, and then this elite one, which I think if you guys are going to get one, this is definitely the one to get. I also opted for the red cone, as you guys can see right there. Otherwise, guys, I have a VRSF aluminum charge pipe, which is going to be super hard to see because of the sun. I also have a VRSF catless downpipe on this side, and then again, because of the sun, you probably can't see it, but I also have a VRSF front mount intercooler as well. So you guys can probably just guess on those mods, but this car is currently tuned on stage 2 using boot mode. I decided not to go like stage 2 plus or like different like fuel mixes or anything like that. I think stage 2 is more than enough for me. I'm not really like a power hungry type of guy. I also really don't like to go crazy fast. I think this car is plenty fast for me, at least for now. The car replacing this one is definitely going to be faster. I think in terms of this car, stage 2 is plenty. So like I was saying, guys, nothing too crazy in terms of performance, just a few standard bolt-ons, and then just an OTS map stage 2 tune from boot mode. Now, like I was saying, there are a few additional mods in the engine bay. As you guys can see here, I have an aluminum strut bar or strut brace, whatever you want to call it. I honestly think this helps a lot in terms of handling. So if you guys don't plan on doing much to your car, I would honestly say consider getting one of these strut braces. Again, I really think it's really good bang for the buck. But other than that, we have a few golden wrench like black line caps. So as you guys can see here, the oil cap. I also have the windshield wiper cap over here, and then one last one for the fuel cap. So those really don't do much other than look good, but I do have some ones that make this engine bay actually a little more practical, like this Burger Motorsports oil filter housing cap, which I absolutely love, guys. I think it's one of the best mods you can do to this car. Not only does it make your engine bay look better, but also makes it way more practical. If you guys didn't check out that video, definitely go check it out. Another mod that I wish I did sooner on this car. And then lastly, guys, I have this titanium bleeder screw from Mashi. This also makes the car a little more practical because normally the ones that come on this car are plastic and they tend to break, corrode, and start to leak coolant, whereas this one will not. All right, guys, so that's pretty much all the mods that I put on the 435. Like I was saying before, nothing too crazy, but we definitely had some fun with this car, and I think we made it look a lot better. Like I was saying in the beginning, if you guys want any of these mods, all of them will be linked down in the description below. Going through this list and looking at the car really makes me regret selling it, but like I keep on saying, it's just what we have to do to get to bigger and better places on this channel. I already do have a buyer for the car, and I will be talking about that more in a later video, but just to kind of give you guys a hint, although we are selling it, it's not going too far, so you guys might still be seeing this car on the channel even after I sell it. I don't want to say too much, but again, I'll talk about it more in detail later on. But for now, guys, this video is pretty much done, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.